This couldn't have come at a better time. And following what has been a brutal past couple games for the Toronto Blue Jays, we have some huge updates to go over today surrounding two particular and huge players that not only have massive implications going forward. Folks, this update could not have come at a better time. We're going to break that down, as well as discuss a few other updates and also one interesting note that a lot of people are missing from yesterday's blowout loss against the Dodgers. That is very encouraging. A ton to go over today, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, you guys have been absolute beasts of the support. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your continued support over here, folks. A lot to go over today. Jay's coming off a brutal loss. The good news is today is the last game against the Dodgers in the series. That's one piece of good news. Also, a lot of the AL teams Jays are in a race with lost yesterday, including the Boston Red Sox. But I want to focus on two key updates. We're going to start with Max Scherzer, and later in the video, we're going to dive into Shane Bieber. Now, I want to start with Max Scherzer. Also kind of lost in, a couple days ago, their opening game series against the Dodgers, or their opening game, sorry, in the series, was Max Scherzer. He was fantastic, but he came out yesterday and gave a huge quote here that a lot of people, are also missing because of how bad, the series has been. My hand is in a much better spot. My thumb is in a much better spot. I felt very strong with my hand and my thumb, excuse me. So I think I'm finally making a breakthrough on this, which is huge. I kind of feel normal. And from a hand standpoint, this is the best I've felt since spring training. Basically goes on to say that not only can he throw every pitch, he can really get his thumb into it, critical, to his arm health, everything like that. Folks, he feels the best he has felt the entire season and for arguably years. I feel like I'm going to have good health on that front going forward in terms of my hand. You're never out of the woods. He's 41. But because this is a systematic injury for me, having this thumb problem be lasting for so long, for 3 years now, this is the first time I'm kind of getting out of it. This is massive. And obviously, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you have to be over the moon here. His fastball velo, you can see from Arden's Welling, he sat at 94.2, which was his highest average velo since 2023. And as Joshua makes a good point here, I've said it before, but the nice thing about Max's brutal honesty earlier in the season regarding his thumb is that it allows you to trust it when he's delivering good news. This is huge. We're going to dive into Shane Bieber in a minute, but the ultimate, the critical factor here as we approach the playoffs and even try to win the AL East run is obviously going to be the offense in general. They've been struggling a bit, but it's the starting pitching staff. Is Shane Bieber going to be able to be healthy and start a playoff game? Is Max Scherzer going to be able to be healthy and start a playoff game? And we saw specifically with, Max Scherzer against the Dodgers, he is an animal. Yes, he had a 2-run home run. That was basically the only, blemish in the start. You could argue he outpitched Clayton Kershaw, who just the Jays were unable to capitalize on a lot of the hits and more hard contact. Folks, this is a perfect time for this to come up because not only is Scherzer healthier than ever, but the starting pitching staff now, if they can start to get some guys back, hopefully it'll help them, reduce their slump. That hopefully they win today and reduce it. But you're going into against the Cubs, again, the Rangers, and it's going to be wild. Could not have come at a better time. And we're going to dive back into this in a second, but I also want to dive into another big update. Was yesterday, Shane Bieber was on the bump, which is obviously, we always love hearing, Shane Bieber, former Cy Young, not only finalist, folks, but a winner. And it was very good news. So Shane Bieber's second rehab outing at AAA Buffalo was finished at 5.2 innings and 76 pitches. He allowed 2 runs on 4 hits and a walk with 6 strikeouts. Blue Jays manager John Schneider said earlier this week the righty would get 1 more rehab start. So folks, a lot to go over specifically regarding this. And obviously the good piece of news here is that, specifically for the Toronto Blue Jays, for Shane Bieber, obviously the Jays, is that he not only hit his pitch count, and I discussed it in the video yesterday, I believe it was, 75 to 80 was his goal for yesterday's outing. He hit that. There was no hiccups. He gave up a solo shot again, but he looked very, very good. His velocity hovering in the 93 area is about where it was when he won the Cy Young. He looks better than, not better than ever, but better than he did, especially, a few months ago when he first started, obviously the Tommy John surgery, all these different things. He now is in line for 1 more, at least, rehab start before, of course, the Jays play against, some weaker opponents here in the future. But he's due for 1 more rehab start down in AAA. And obviously, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you have to go out and you have to try and get Shane Bieber ready to go sooner rather than later, right? Because we know Max Scherzer, right? He's in a better spot. You have other guys going crazy. Eric Lauer's been fantastic, which we'll dive into a little bit later. But Shane Bieber, he is the X factor for this, whether this trade deadline will be seen as a win and whether this Jays team can win, wild card series, ALDS, assuming they, get there. A lot of things there. Here's his full stat line: 5 2/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks, 78 pitches. Control seemed pretty good. He induced 12 combined whiffs on 26 swings between his slider and cutter. Likely 1 more rehab outing coming. So again, Another thing that couldn't have came at a better time. We're talking about, the Toronto Blue Jays, especially, their team's struggling right now. And of course, you have some guys in the minors. You have Alek Manoah, who made a pretty rough start. He's not looking great. You have, of course, now Shane Bieber, who's making starts. He's going to be nearing a return soon. If you line it up for one more start, let's say it's 5 days away, that goes around August 15th ish. His next, trip in the rotation for the Jays, August 22nd, late August. You obviously want to get him in there before September, but this is perfect timing and everything is lining up really, really well for this team. And that's what's exciting to me, is that everything is lining up really well. And ultimately, if you're the Toronto, if you're the pitching staff, if you are the pitching coach, if you're the front office, this is a guy you want. Like, he is a Cy Young winner. He's a guy who can actually help you. But he can help the team win an AL division, race. I think there was a point this season they were up 6.5 or 5.5 games up on the Yankees in the AL East. They're now up, obviously, 3 games as of the time of recording against the Boston Red Sox. And the good news is, again, the Red Sox lost yesterday. Perfect. The Padres helped out and did their job. The Jays need to help themselves out and actually get some, wins too, because you can't keep free falling. Yes, you have perfect timing for Max Scherzer becoming fully healthy, for Shane Bieber becoming fully healthy, it seems. But you have to help yourself within, and that obviously starts with the offense, because the offense has been pretty rough over the past 3 games. I mean, it's at a point now where you are, it's a struggle, obviously. And at the end of the day, they need to go ahead and do this. Also, one quick note on Scherzer before we move on to a couple things here. Chad Vidi also, timed in and said notable is that Max Scherzer feels like he's finally making a breakthrough with this thumb. I kind of feel normal. I told you I wasn't going to celebrate until I was making starts and recovering from them. This is the closest thing we've got to it. So just want to throw that in there because obviously this wasn't in the initial quote I sent you. Now, folks, let's move on to a couple different things here, because obviously yesterday's game was a little bit rough, but there was something to take out of it, and that is Braden Fischer facing his former team. He was acquired in the trade when the Jays gave the Dodgers Kevin Biggio. He was up to 98.5 miles an hour. You can see from Thomas Hall, Braden Fischer was fired up for his return to Dodger Stadium. He thinks he threw the 5th hardest pitches of his MLB career tonight at 98, and all these different things. He also quoted that it was a typo by him, not the 5th hardest pitches. Those are the 5 hardest pitches he has ever thrown at the major league level. All came yesterday. 98.1, 98.2, 98.3, and 98.5. Folks, if Braden Fischer can find a way to get in the pitching lab and get up to 100 miles an hour with his nasty, devastating curveball, not only was this an absolute finesse by Ross Atkins, he's already an elite reliever, especially for the Jays. He can really start to cook up here. And to see him have even the ability and potential and possibility to hit, the ability to hit a 98.1, it was something that in a very rough game yesterday, you were able to take as a positive. And that's what I'm looking for right now. Like, yes, the Jays I think they're a fantastic team. I think they're in very good shape. All these different things. I know some fans are acting like the sky's falling down. I think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, even if they're 45% healthy, whatever it is. Like, they're that good. The Jays, they need to win today, try to salvage the series and give themselves some momentum. But at the end of the day, they are in a very good spot. And let's look at some of the positives, and Braden Fischer is one of them. And at the end of the day, it makes me very happy that he's on our team and that Ross Atkins pulled that one off. And one quick thing before we wrap up as well is Eric Lauer. He's making the start this afternoon. Just a quick note here. His career against the Dodgers, 7-2 with a 2.63 ERA. So you're going up against one of the best pitchers in the MLB in Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Could have been a J maybe, but it's obviously a topic for another day, or probably a topic for never again. Eric Lauer, this is going to be a huge start. The Jays need George Springer back. They're getting Shane Bieber. They're getting Max Scherzer fully healthy now. They need to go out and actually not only get George Springer back, that's the biggest thing, but get a good start from Eric Lauer, and the offense needs to lock in. You're finally facing a righty. You have the advantage in that front, even though the Jays have been mashing lefties all year. They haven't done so yet with the Dodgers, destroyed by Blake Snell yesterday, and of course, destroyed the day before by Clayton Kershaw. Hopefully, they can go out today and get the win. But folks, that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. Cheers.